In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create a stretch transition in After Effects without using any plugins. Let's get to it. So here we are in After Effects. I've got two videos on the timeline, and in order to create the transition, first I'm going to create an adjustment layer. So let's go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer. Then open Effects and Presets window. Here search for Motion Tile and add it to the adjustment layer. Then search for CC Scale Wipe and also add it to the adjustment layer. Now head over to the Effect Controls panel, and for the motion tile, let's set output width and output height both to 300. Now I'm going to place the time indicator at the point of the cut between the videos. Make sure the adjustment layer is highlighted, then go up to Edit, Split Layer, or you can press Ctrl-Shift-D as the shortcut. This will give us two separate adjustment layers to work with. Now let's move to the left so we can see the first video. Select the first adjustment layer, then in Effect Controls we're going to adjust the CC Scale Wipe settings. So first, let's increase the stretch to something like 5, and you will see that the video is getting stretched, but it is doing that to the top right corner. We can control the direction of the stretch by changing the direction in the CC Scale Wipe settings. Since I'm making the horizontal transition, I'm going to set direction in the first adjustment layer to 90 degrees. And we also need to place the center point all the way to the left edge of the composition, and we can do that by decreasing the X position, something like that, and it should be set to 0. So it is exactly at this point. Now I'm going to create a keyframe for stretch by clicking the stopwatch, then press U on a keyboard to see the keyframe on the timeline, and let's move this keyframe all the way to the end of the first adjustment layer. And now I'm going to move 10 frames to the left from this end keyframe. So come here and then move 10 frames back and then set stretch to 0. And if we preview this, you will see that this will give us like a stretch to the side. Now let's continue this motion in our second adjustment layer. So let's move forward to the second video, select the second adjustment layer, again come to the Effect Controls panel, set stretch to be 5, and in order to continue the motion that we created in the first adjustment layer, we need to set the direction to -90 degrees this time. And we need to place the center all the way to the right edge of the composition. So again, let's increase this until it's all the way to the right. And since I'm working in full HD composition, this should be set to 1920. Right, after that, I'm going to create a keyframe for stretch by clicking on the stopwatch, press U on the keyboard to see the keyframe, and let's move this keyframe to the start of the adjustment layer. Then let's move 10 frames forward from this first keyframe and set stretch back to 0. And now if you do the preview, this will give us like a simple stretch and it looks nice. But before we start adjusting the velocity of the keyframes, let's add a separate adjustment layer with the directional blur on it to make the transition smoother. So again, let's go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer. So make sure that adjustment layer is above all others. Let's go to the Effects and Presets window and search for Directional Blur. Drag and drop it onto the top adjustment layer. Now I'm going to place the time indicator at the point of the cut between the videos. And in Effect Controls, I'm going to set direction to 90 degrees first, so it matches our horizontal transition. And now I'm going to increase the blur length to something like 100. You can see that adds a nice amount of blur, and create a keyframe by clicking on the stopwatch. Then let's go back 10 frames to this start keyframe for the first adjustment layer, set blur length to 0, and then let's go to the end keyframe in our second adjustment layer and also set the blur length to 0. Then press U on a keyboard to see all of the keyframes, and here they are. Now I'm going to drag and select all of the keyframes that we created. Right click any of them, keyframe assistant, easy, so you can press F9 as a shortcut. Now while the keyframes are highlighted, let's open the graph editor. Right click and make sure Edit Speed Graph is selected. I'm going to drag and select the first point, and you will see the yellow handles, and we want to drag this yellow handle all the way to the right. Then select the middle point and drag this yellow handle, the one that's to the left, all the way to the right, and then drag and select this one again, and drag this handle that's to the right all the way to the left, and then select the end keyframe and also drag the handle to the left. And now that's how the graph should look. So we are creating a massive velocity spike in this middle area where the cut happens. So now if we exit the graph editor and preview the transition, we should have a very nice and smooth stretch transition created in After Effects without using any plugins. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Peace out.